Hello, everyone. We're here with Residency Success. I'm Dr. Dada. I'm here with Dr. Magda from all the way
Hello.
from Poland. Thank you so much for joining us today. Dr. Magda is actually a very bright young doctor that is a medical student currently still in a way, but she's in her intern year. So I misspoke. She's a medical student, graduated to her intern year, currently in Europe, in Poland. And I wanted her to come and give her unique perspective on her fears and challenges that she feels she might face in trying to come to the US. So, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself and then speak to that a little bit?
Yes. First of all, thank you for having me. A little bit about myself. I graduated in June 2019 from my medical university from my hometown, Łódź. And I'm currently, like you said, I'm doing intern year. It's actually 13 months, and we're doing rotations in different hospitals and in different specialties. Uh, yeah.
Okay.
So.
So, I feel that in talking with you, and we have done, since you are very early in the process, a lot of people wonder when should I contact Residency Success and when is it a good time for me to get I find that you are very well organized. The questions you asked me were so insightful. Why did you feel like you wanted to seek out some assistance from someone who's been through the process and kind of can guide you such an early time before even step one?
Mhm. So I think the sooner the better. You kind of you need to realize what you have to do um, to get into residency program. So I think you need to have a plan, an outline of what you want to do, and the steps are not the only thing that's important. And the sooner you start building your resume, the better. So you have to know the information from the insider, and you do that for a living basically. So I thought that's the best source to reach out to.
I think that you were very clear in your objectives. So one thing that I always encourage in people to have, it may not work, but it's the same concept, Dr. Magda. Have you heard of vision boards? Like where you kind of make a plan, like a 5-year plan, but it's just pictures of where you
Yes.
want to be in your life. And it somehow will manifest more clearly
Hmm.
if you have a plan like this, an outline. And that's exactly what we did. We spoke with Dr. Magda about what she wants to do, what her situation is, what her visa situation is, when she's coming to the US. Even with COVID, there are chances for her to get rotations, and we spoke about how she can do that and basically set her up for success. Because if she came to me after she had an attempt at step one or step two, it would be more difficult to bury those red flags or didn't do certain things on time because she's aware that the further and further you get away from your graduation, the more difficult it is because the year of graduation really does matter when the programs are filtering you out.
Yes, agree.
So tell me, what do you feel like is going to be your biggest challenge in this current time of COVID and the visa issues and our political climate now? What do you feel?
So I know that the letters of recommendation are a very important thing in the process of applying to residency. And right now, uh, it's harder to access even United States for immigrants and people just visiting and trying to get rotations. So not everybody will be able to get that rotation that they need. So I feel like that's going to be a difficult thing to do to accomplish.
Right. I have another colleague who runs a very successful podcast. He's an ER doctor, Dr. Alonso Osorio. So if you follow my group, I know you are very disciplined and staying off Facebook because you're studying right now. We discussed that and you're very driven. But when the time comes, you can listen because he had an immigration attorney talk about this very issue. So what
Hmm.
I do, like my process at Residency Success, is to attack your success from all different angles to support you every single way. Planning ahead, connecting you with the right people, connecting you with the right resources, as well as advising you about what is the best thing to do. For example, we talked about how you're confused, like, I don't have any research right now. What do you think I should do? I have an opportunity to do research, or should I focus on my exam? And we discussed that. And it was such a brilliant question to ask, because at the time that I was at your stage, I was trying to do so many things at one time that my energy was like whittled down to nothing when it came down to studying. And I finally realized that I have to get serious and actually focus on the exams, because then when there's low scores or there's attempts, then I'll only have myself to blame. They won't care about this amazing MPH I'm doing. They won't care about this amazing research I did at Harvard. They won't care about any of those things. Like, name dropping will only get me so far at that point. And I think we discussed that, and the bottom line came that you will focus on your exams for now, and then we can kind of make a plan to reach out for the research. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, because I had an opportunity to do one research in Poland, but also I need to focus on the steps. So you kind of directed me into the right way.
Yeah, sometimes you're just wondering. You wonder, like, oh, is this the right thing to do? And you're so confused. And of course, like we said, Dr. Magda, like, you have limited time. You're an intern. You have a very challenging workload already. For you to go to multiple places like YouTube and listen to this person and that person, and then look at reviews, all different websites, and then look at different groups, that's hours of your time a day. And what I try to do with my colleagues and I is boil down all the most important things for you. So you don't have to spend that time going outside to figure out what would be the most intelligent thing for you to do.
Mm-hmm.
And go ahead.
Because that's what you're saying. I couldn't really focus on one thing. I couldn't focus really on studying because I just kept seeing all those pop-up ads, see how to get 260 on USMLEs, see how to do get a successful residency and all that. And I was just wasting my time, really. I mean, they are all helpful, and I'm really grateful that there are some people that are trying to help out students and interns like me, but it's just, you just have to have a plan, and just focus on that.
Right. You have to kind of quiet the noise a little bit.
Yes.
And it's okay I always tell people, it's not like you have to go with me, but choose someone based on their track record, and make sure they have had, actually been in your shoes. Like, I was a Caribbean grad, so I went through the whole intern IMG process. I felt that discrimination when it came down to it, with always feeling inferior somehow and overcompensating in a lot of ways. Also, there was nobody to guide me at that time. Only, I feel, in the last 5 to 6 years have all these things kind of exploded online, where you're able to access so many things that are free. And then people on forums, a lot of times I feel they fear monger. Like, they will put something out there like, oh my God, and everybody will panic and freak out at the same time. And when I work with people, my number one goal is to quell and kind of squash some of those misconceptions that they have, and try to guide them on the path of having singular focus. It's the same thing. If you have 100 things that you're using for an exam, you'll get too confused. So what do the gurus say? Use a good question bank and use one resource when you start out. And then you can just kind of diversify as you build the strength of studying. We have a question strategy tutor, Dr. Raj. I definitely don't want to relive the nightmare of the USMLEs ever again, so I don't do that. I just focus on advising, as well as helping you guys, come up with good plans for the future, as well as basically making sure that when the time comes that you actually have the interviews, that you're prepared. Now, for you, Dr. Magda, I see you are very focused, dedicated, charming, but perhaps one issue, and we already discussed this, right, is sometimes being a little assertive, okay? And psychologically, I always profile my candidates, and I will fit that answer to be according to your personality. Like, if someone's interviewing, they'll be like, I don't think Dr. Magda is that person who would run down the hallway during a code and scream at everybody. And, so she's not that person. She's more of a laid back, quiet person. What is her leadership style? It would be different, right? So we would tailor your answers to your personality so it's believable.
Mhm.
So those are the ways I basically like attack things with all of my candidates. Now there'll be other people, other doctors joining my team who's going to take the same approach because I want to make sure that they know what the process is. Sometimes people get very anxious, like, oh my God, I can't work with you again. Like, no. So I'm always involved in the process, but obviously I have a full clinical load. I can't do everything all the time, right? So you have to ask for help. That's also very important. Any other things that you feel that you want to tell people about, just working with me in the short time and how you feel that is going to impact them over the long term?
So I agree with what you just said. That was my thoughts initially too, that you kind of have to have something tailored just for you, because all of the advice is not, it's just a general advice, and people need personal approach. So that's why I thought working with you would be the best option for me.
Okay, great, Dr. Magda. You know what? I think it's very insightful what you've told us. And the fact that you're doing it at this stage, I'm just like blown away by how organized you are. Actually, you also, so whenever I work with my candidates, they motivate me as well.
Mhm.
So I learn from you almost as equally as you're learning from me. And it's like a give and take. I think you'll go very far. I'm looking forward to just supporting you on your journey and making sure that you get where you have to go. Connecting you with numerous resources that may or may not work out, but we have enough time. So that's why we plan ahead, right?
Mhm.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us. And what we'll do is we'll have you on again if people have additional questions, and
Sure.
we'll continue to stay in touch. Thanks again.
Thank you very much.
All right. Take care. Bye bye.
Bye.